This video shows you how to retrofit rubber draft excluder and weather seals on the indoor, interior, surround, perimeter or the outline of all four sides of your interior door, as well as fitting the draft weather seals on your outdoor exterior or garage door. Here we've got the Exitex Rain Deflector 20 weatherboard drip door bar aluminium. The Deflector 20 weatherboard drip bar comes in the mill, gold, white, black and bronze colors, so you've got variety on them bars. The bar is supplied with weather deflecting end caps to help eliminate sharp edges and to provide a smart finish for your doors, mainly for inward opening doors. So think about the purpose your door is serving, it's all quite relative. And here we've got the Exitex low height Maclex threshold, primarily for inward opening doors. The model is MDS80 and it's got a rear thermal barrier that helps prevent condensation. It comes in varying length sizes from 1940mm to 4590mm. Other attributes are that it is thermally broken to prevent condensation. It's got a double seal for extra protection. It's effective for new or retrofit projects and can be used in conjunction with a weather deflector, as earlier highlighted, for very exposed locations, just like the location that we've got for this exterior door. And as you can see, we've got high traction here for this exterior door, depending on the purpose it's serving, whether it be inward opening or outward opening. So basically, the deflector and threshold helps protect your home from harsh weather conditions and from insects or rodents that may want to come into the property. It also helps to cut out draft, which is a current of cool air that comes into the room, and also helps with soundproofing or acoustically helping to treat your room, to make your room sound better. And we're going to replicate this process on an interior door, okay? So when getting the deflector and threshold, make sure that they are fit for purpose, work out what the measurements are and tailor your purchase bespoke to your requirements, okay? You can always cut them to size, depending on what you need them for. And so the threshold, which is what we've got here, and the deflector are draft excluders. Suffice to say, they help to keep warm air inside your home and keep the cold air out. And so basically, by helping to mitigate or reduce the amount of cold air that infiltrates or permeates your home, invariably the cascading effect is that it helps to reduce your energy costs. It improves your indoor air quality and helps to save money on bills. So they are perfect for moderate exposed locations as well as for wheelchairs. And so the benefits of installing the draft excluder cannot be overemphasized. And now that we're conversant with the benefits, we can proceed to install the StormGuard heavy duty around door seal aluminium or heavy duty surround door seal aluminium, which is what we've got here, and the StormGuard rubber garage door seal, which is on the inside of the packaging here. And so the next step of the process would be to open up the packaging of the garage rubber door seal. And so you can see here that it's composed of a lengthy rubber seal and aluminium piece, which we can cut to size with the aid of a scissors and hacksaw, okay? This is the StormGuard heavy duty around door or surround seal aluminium, which encompasses two pieces of 2057mm door seals for the sides of the door and one 914mm length door seal for the top of the door. So basically this fits on the sides of the door, the top of the door, and not underneath the door. So the 914mm door seal fits on top of the door. One of the 2057mm, which has got a straight rubber, fits on the side of the door where you've got the strike plate or the locking key, door lock, and the other 2057mm, which has got a curved rubber seal to it, fits on the side of the door where you've got, the hinges. So this is the straight and the curved rubber being compared here. And so the curved, as earlier highlighted, fits on the side of the door where you've got the hinges, and the straight one fits on the side where you've got the strike plate and at the top. So prior to pre-drilling your holes and installing them door seals, take cognizance of the nature or the outline of the rubber profile so you don't misfit them, okay? So the next step would be to take measurements of the door and select the appropriate tool to cut them door seals. And in this case, I will be selecting a hacksaw based on the number of teeth the blade has per inch. To cut wood or soft materials, I will be needing a blade with a TPI of 6 up to 20. And for harder materials like metal or the aluminium that we've got in this case, I will be needing a TPI of anywhere between 14 to 36. And as earlier highlighted, some of the reasons why I need a door seal is to mitigate condensation, draft, keep the studio warm, and to acoustically treat the studio. Try as much as possible to hermetically seal the studio, improve the sound quality, and to help trap certain frequencies. And so for the selection of the hacksaw used in cutting the aluminium, for thinner aluminium we select a TPI of 32, and for thicker aluminium we select a TPI of anywhere between 8 or 14. So the aluminium in question is lightweight, it's a light metal, and so a higher TPI would provide a smoother cut, and so a 32 teeth per inch blade would easily do the trick. And so on the spectrum, anywhere between 24 to 32 should still give me a fine smoother cut. As a 24 TPI hacksaw blade offers the most range, it's good for cutting aluminium, steel rods and plates and more. This heavy duty hacksaw frame is 300mm in length and 12 inches. It's got two sets of pins that allow the hacksaw to be used for straight and 45-degree angle cutting. And these are the replacement blades. The first blade, which is for the 12-inch frame and 24 TPI in teeth number, is a poor quality blade which will shatter easily. And the other blade is the Baco shatterproof bimetal hacksaw blade, which has got a TPI of 24 and fits into the 12-inch frame hacksaw easily. And so just out of interest, for the bow saw, we can see that, it's got a 24-inch frame and the TPI is 4, so the teeth is quite large, and we're definitely not selecting that blade. The drill set, Stanley knife, hacksaw, measuring tape, scissors, G-clamps and the drill are the tools that will be used in installing the door seals. The hacksaw frame is supplied with one blade, and the blade in question here isn't a shatterproof blade, so if this snaps or breaks, I will be replacing it with the Baco shatterproof blade. The next step is to measure the length around the door and also to work out the purpose that the door is serving. And so if you're standing on the inside or outside of the studio, it is outward opening relative to the studio. But if the purpose that the door is serving isn't relative to the studio, if you stand on the inside or outside, then it's inward opening. And since it is outward opening relative to the studio, the rubber door seal would be installed from the inside, okay? Just like the acoustic seal rubber that you have installed in your car for doors, for soundproofing. So we're going to install this on the inside. The door stops on the inner top length, so we're going to be installing it further in, okay, which is somewhere around here. Okay, so that's where the aluminium top rubber seal would be, so that would close on the door or seal around the door like you'd have in an aquarium. And so the top inside width of the door frame is about 26 inches, and both sides of the door frame, or the height, is about 78¼ inches or 200 centimeter. And so this is not the measurement you need on an internal outward opening door. You would need this if it were an external inward opening door. And prior to cutting your Draught Excluder aluminium, take cognizance or map out the process of where your rubber seal would sit flush against the door. And also make sure that the rubber seal doesn't stand in the way of the door when you open it, but rather, that when you close it, it sits flush against the door. Take measurements repetitively, as it's best to measure twice and cut once, okay? The next step would be to cut this around door seal aluminium to size. So here I will be cutting off the short length of the door set to the size of the measurement extrapolated from the top inside width of the door frame. Suffice to say, cutting off 26.2 inches, which is the inside width of the door frame, from the short length of the door set, which is 35 inches. And as you can see, I'm pulling the rubber away from the aluminium groove so that it doesn't get in the way of the hacksaw. Marking up or extrapolating the 26.2 inches measurement onto the aluminium bar. And then cutting off half the required amount from each equidistant hole end of the aluminium bar, so that we can make use of the holes that have been drilled on the aluminium bar. So here I will be clamping the short end of the door set to prevent movement during the hacksawing process. I will be making a 90-degree cut so my blade is straight. If I were making an angled 45-degree cut, my blade may be slanted, okay? To fit a shatterproof blade, just undo the knob, get a different hacksaw blade in with 24 teeth, and for the 12-inch frame, reinstall it, and turn the knob clockwise to secure the blade onto the hacksaw. From here onwards, I will proceed to cut out the inside width of the door frame from the aluminium bar, which is 26.2 inches or 665 mil, from the 35 inches or 914 mil aluminium bar strip, and then subsequently dislodge the cut aluminium piece from them two G-clamps. Then cut off the excess rubber so that it aligns with the top inside width of the door frame. With the door closed in position, slave or hold the cut short strip along the top of the door frame so that the rubber strip is pressing on the door along its length. Check to make sure that the rubber seal is acoustically flush against the door when the door shuts, leaving no gaps. And as a guide to the pressure required, the outside thick part of the aluminium section should be 4 mm away from the surface of the door along its length, and then mark up the hole positions to be drilled. The next step would be to open the door and hold the strip up to the marked up positions and then nail or screw in to position. Subsequently, select the drill bit in line with the diameter of the screw. You just make sure that the diameter of the screw protrudes slightly out from the profile of the drill bit, so that when you drill into the wood, you get a snug or a very tight fit. Just make sure that you pilot drill the holes prior to opening up the holes with the final sized drill bit, using a smaller sized drill bit to pilot drill the holes, okay? And also mask the screw on the drill bit so that you don't drill too further into the wood. You can mask it with a masking tape. The masking on this bit looks quite worn, but I've used it for a long time, so I can just about work out where the length of the screw is on the drill bit. Vary the speed to 2 for drilling and push the knob down for drilling downwards. So here I'm pilot drilling them holes that I marked up previously, and once done, open up them piloted holes to the final sized holes using the final sized drill bit, and then screw on the cut aluminium strip onto the top of the door. Insert the screw drill bit into the magnetic bit holder and then into the chuck of the drill, and then get ready to screw down onto the top of the door. You can also manually torque tighten them screws to a certain level and then finish off the screwing down process with your drill, okay? After torque tightening down, test to see if it's flush against the rubber. If it's not flush or line offset to a certain nth degree, unscrew some of the screws and adjust the aluminium bar from the whole center, and that should align flush with the door. Before fixing the side pieces, inspect the two long lengths of the door. One strip has a curly rubber seal and the other has a longer straight rubber seal. The curly strip should be fitted to the door frame at the hinge side of the door, and whereas the straight rubber piece should be fitted on the side where you've got your strike plate or door locking mechanism. And you can see that both aluminium pieces at right angles clash. You can decide to fit it like this, but it wouldn't give you a flush, seamless, aesthetically pleasing, neat, efficient seal. So when the top piece of the around the door Draught Excluder has been fitted to the top of the door frame, the side pieces can then be notch cut to create a neat, efficient seal. So you can see I'm marking out the impediment, the obstacle that's preventing an efficient seal, or a neat mating seamless finish. So I've marked off that notch there, and I will be cutting that, out from the aluminium bar. So I will be repeating and reproducing the process as earlier highlighted in the aforementioned for both side pieces or the two longer strips of the door set to be fitted down each side of the door frame. Essentially measuring down the sides of the door frame, extrapolate and cut out the measurement on them two longer strips of the door, and also mark off their respective notches and cut them out so that they have a seamless fit or finish to them. And you can see that if I cut off the marked bit that is in line with the raised bit on the aluminium strip, I will get the notch seamless finish fit to it. Okay, unfortunately during the notch cutting process the hacksaw blade snapped, so I'm going to replace them with shatterproof blades because them ones are not shatterproof. Okay, so I have swapped the blades for the shatterproof bimetal hacksaw blade, 24 teeth per inch, which is going to give me a very fine cut. And if the hacksaw blade isn't cutting through the aluminium strip seamlessly, then just slide it through like a bread knife. You don't need to take it back and forth, and it will do a pretty good job of cutting the aluminium strip. Just run it through one stroke at a time and it should cut the strip. And if you're finding it difficult to get any traction or bite at the initial stages, run it through one stroke at a time and you should get the bite you need through the aluminium strip. And if the blade struggles to get any traction, when moving it back and forth, change the orientation of the blade or flip it in the opposite direction and you should get the traction that you need. So it's pretty much up to you what style you use in cutting your aluminium strip. And you can see with both notches off, the aluminium strip at a right angle fits perfectly. The notch forms a nice tight seal with the slotted aluminium, and all I need to do from here is to raise the rubber and then cut the straight rubber side piece aluminium to achieve 78¼ inches. And as you can see, I'm just stroking it gently and you can see that the aluminium piece is cutting through. It's not a back and forth movement, it's just a fine stroke of the hacksaw blade. And when I get the desired bite or groove that I need in the aluminium, I can finish off with the back and forth stroke. So it's pretty much up to you how you want to cut your aluminium strip. And so here we've got a notch on the aluminium strip and we can cut the rubber to bring the length of the rubber and the aluminium strip in line together or uniform. And so cut the excess with the scissors. And then line up the straight door seal at the right angle with the top door seal. And when they form a neat seamless finish at a right angle, then repeat the drilling and screwing process as earlier highlighted in the aforementioned. For both the straight door seal, which is installed where you've got your door's locking mechanism, and also for the curved door seal, which is installed where you've got your door hinges. Once the screwing on the straight door rubber seal is complete, I will open and close the door to make sure that it is acoustically flush and seamless. If it isn't, move the aluminium bar from its offset center position until it's flush or aligned with the door. Repeat the process of cutting by running repetitive strokes on the curved rubber aluminium bar to get the bite into the aluminium bar. and then follow up with a back and forth rhythmic movement. Make sure that the aluminium piece is robustly secure with G-clamps so that there is little play when you're hacksawing through the aluminium. Where the side pieces meet the top piece, it is recommended that the corners be notch cut to enable a nice, neat seal finish, okay? Do note that when cutting the around door strip to length, cut half the required amount of each end of the strip. If the rubber strip seems to have lost its tension and is wrinkly, pinch one end of the aluminium using pliers onto the rubber strip to hold in position, then pull the strip until the wrinkles are removed. My rubber strip hasn't lost any of its tension and it's not wrinkly, so I do not need to pinch one end of each of the aluminium strip bar using pliers. Just need to cut half the required amount of each end of the strip to utilize them holes that have been pre-drilled on the aluminium strip. Once you've cut the curved rubber aluminium strip to length, you cut the curved rubber on the aluminium strip to length as well by pushing in the rubber through the groove of the aluminium strip and cutting to the required length of the aluminium strip, which was extrapolated from the measurements on the door. Take great care not to allow the door to catch the rubber along the hinge side when closing. On slightly twisted doors or frames, fit the hinged side strip with the door closed so that it just touches the door. This will prevent any possibility of the rubber being trapped when closing the door. Mark up the holes to be drilled and repeat the drilling process as earlier highlighted for the straight rubber aluminium strip. Then subsequently screw down the door seal so that it's flushed against the door as earlier highlighted. Then lastly, test the installation to make sure that you've got an efficient seal when you close the door. Fitting the 2.5 meter storm guard rubber garage door seal is virtually the same process with the around door seal. When purchasing the bottom door seal, make sure that you check the width of the rubber. The gap under my door is 25mm and the width of this rubber is 48mm to cover the 25mm gap. That was about 30mm. I could only find the rubber seals in 12mm, so 48mm and was what I had to settle for. After cutting off the aluminium strip to the desired length extrapolated from the door, you cut equal lengths of the rubber so that they match precisely, okay? One end of the aluminium rubber door seal is fine, so I will cut the other end so that it matches exactly with the aluminium strip. Then subsequently latch or place the rubber aluminium door seal at the bottom of the door and mark off hole positions that I will be drilling. To select your drill bits, pilot drill them holes and open them holes to the final size, as well as how to fit your surround or around the door seals. Click on the link in the description, okay, or in the first quadrant of this video. So I will just be skimming through the process of drilling here. So obviously I'm pilot drilling here before progressively opening up the hole to the final size of the screw that would be used to attach the garage rubber door seal. If your rubber strip seems to have lost its tension and is wrinkly, pinch one end of the aluminium using pliers onto the rubber strip to hold in position, then pull the strip until the wrinkles are removed. Okay, so here I'm just making sure that I've got steady connection at both ends of the aluminium, and just using industrial glue or Locktite to keep that in position, or solidify the rigid connection. Reinstall the door seal with the screws on, and then retest the installation process, as this bottom seal will be getting a lot of traction here, so you want to make sure that you've got a steady connection between the threshold, the rubber seal and the aluminium, that it's not pulling out when you consistently open and close the door, okay? And you can also see that the cutout length of the bottom door seal stops right before the surround or around door seals. So at this stage, we're pretty much just repeating the rubber cutting process, the addition of Locktite and the clamping of the aluminium connection or strip to get a solid, secure connection using pliers. And we'll also be repeating the drilling and screwing down process, for the lengthier outdoor bottom door sill. If you make your aluminium bar too lengthy, which extends from the door to the door frame, it could be caving in the corner there, and the other end could pose a risk to children. It could latch or catch them on the leg if they're walking past. So you should make sure that it's right on the door, and you should have rubbers extending to the farthest left, and you should have a notch cut, to the farthest right. So both protruding aluminium pieces are non-conforming, and the protruding rubber at the strike plate location and the notched aluminium at the corner hinged location is conforming. And that's about it really with respect to mitigating draft and soundproofing with surround around door seals and the bottom garage rubber door seal on all four corners of your door. Also check to make sure that you haven't got gaps on the bottom draft excluder, and it is flush with the threshold to prevent the gush of cool air from rushing into the room, to keep your room warm, to keep condensation out, to save on energy bills, to help with acoustics. And if your door is on the exterior, to prevent insects or reptiles or rodents from creeping under the door. And so you can see that I have doubled up on the bottom door seal, one on the inside and the other on the opposite side or outside, and that the rubber and the aluminium strip of the bottom door doesn't clash with the around or surround door seals. If you want to drill more screws through the aluminium strip, get a cobalt or titanium drill set that's slightly smaller than the threading profile on your screw. Center punch the desired hole and pilot, and then try and open size your holes with the drill bits. If you need an oval hole, use the body of the drill bit to push against the circumference of the hole. But if you need a circle hole, just drill right through. Use speeds 2 for drill bits 1 to 5.5 mil, and I bought 5.5 mil. Use speeds 1. Just keep repeating and reproducing the process at whatever location you need the holes on the bottom door seal, and the same process can be replicated on the surround or around door seals. Just tailor the hole you want to drill bespoke to the screw size requirements. And sometimes you may misdrill a hole, or the hole may not be right on center on the aluminium strip. You can use the girth or the diameter that runs right through the hole as the groove guide or cutting teeth path, for the saw blade. So you're using a hacksaw, you could hacksaw right through the middle of the misdrilled hole with strokes or the back and forth movement of the hacksaw. And that's about it really. If you found the information useful, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, help the channel grow, and hopefully catch up with you later. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening. Goodbye.